San Antonio!
Welcome, San Antonio, to another episode of All Things San Antonio. I'm Ken Carter, one of your favorite San Antonio realtors and podcast hosts, along with
Brad Burns.
And today we are with...
Hi, David Cordrey, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on.
No worries. We didn't give him the heads up that he's supposed to say his own name.
Oh, yeah. I know now.
So you passed the first test. You know your name.
Thank you.
So David Cordrey, it's a good friend of mine that I've known for a few years now. We used to work together in the past. He has a very interesting business. They've got him and his wife have a booth at Bussey's.
Mm-hmm.
But first, let's get a little bit of the backstory, a little bit of history. Are you San Antonio born and raised, or what's your origin story to San Antonio?
So I've been in San Antonio for about 25 years now. I'm originally from the Northeast, up towards Canada, Buffalo, Rochester, New York area. I came down here originally for work. I was a chef at the Hyatt downtown on La Jolla, and I loved it, and I stayed. Been here ever since. So.
I didn't know you were a chef in the past.
Yeah.
So did the Hyatt bring you down here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I came down here with the Hyatt to work, and I got the most amazing training from the chefs there, and I just fell in love with the people and the food in San Antonio. For a while, there was 3 months I couldn't go outside because it was too hot, but I kind of, grew accustomed to that, and I work outside on the weekends now. So.
Yeah, and it's funny though. I tell people, but I'm sure you have 1,000 fans going on to make sure you don't get too hot.
One fan. Yeah, it's a little bit warm out there, but like I said, we've grown accustomed to it and love being out there regardless of the weather.
Oh, fantastic. So the 25 years ago, so you came here, so you grew up, you went to school, high school and stuff in New York, up there. Like, how close were you to Rome?
Not that far from Rome. I played basketball. I wrestled there. So it was, a couple hours.
Okay. That's my only time that I lived up in New York. My dad was Air Force, and we were there at Griffiths Air Force Base. Yeah. I remember I almost got in a fight with my neighbor. I was like 3 years old, and Joey wanted to step in because it was like this kid that was 6. I'm like, no, I'm going to do it and everything. So, but that's the last time my brother stuck up for me.
He sticks up for you a lot. You just don't know it.
Yeah. Only when I'm not around. He is a typical big brother for sure. Yep. And this is our mandatory. We always try to talk about him once every episode.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah.
That's what people
He's a Cowboys fan, so he has to be.
Well, he's a Bills fan.
Yes.
So like if we're going to get things started, like get some rivalry going.
Yeah. I mean, we can. We both choke in the playoffs. We have some similarities.
Yeah, 25 years of sadness.
And you've been here for 25 years?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like, are you the reason the Bills started in the last 25 years of sadness?
I don't put it directly on me, but yeah, there's got to be some kind of juju there. Maybe I need to go back.
No.
I'm a Texan now.
It's easy to become a Texan.
Yeah, I say y'all and everything. So.
There you go.
Yeah.
We eat ranch with your wings?
No, I have not crossed that line yet. I'm still blue cheese.
There you go. See, that's the true Northeasterner.
Yeah.
So let's break down. So y'all just you've only had the booth for a few months, maybe?
Yeah. We started in April, so we started with our own collections, and it's like my wife and I, Erica, have always wanted our own business together. And we've been, planning and schematicking and dreaming, and it was. I came to a point where I could, begin to pull it off. So we just kind of went for it, and I want to say we're shooting small, but I mean, we got right into Bussey's Flea Market, and they've been there for 40 years. And we started in a small booth. That we had to bring everything back and forth every weekend. And then eventually we got a spot with a storage space, and, we could, decorate and put things out a little bit more and leave things there. And then we just got our permanent home, and we're in one of the high volume areas now. And it's funny because they told us 3 to 5 years to get into the high volume areas with the big storages that you can open up and have like a store.
Yeah.
And we did it in 4 months.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what do you credit that to?
Me calling multiple times a week, and I was asking how their grandkids were and what was going on in their lives, and coming up and talking to them and getting to know them, and I was doing that because I love to talk to people, but I was also doing it because I was having to move up.
It's funny, that's kind of the common thread in anybody that we talk to have had any success is like. We talked about it earlier, just like taking action, just doing something. Don't wait for it. A lot of it does probably takes 3 to 5 years for a lot of people because they just sit there and wait and just don't take action.
Yep. Built a relationship.
Yeah, exactly. I was told faith can move mountains, but I was to bring a shovel because there was work to be done.
Yeah,
absolutely. You got to have the work in there. Yeah. So you said like this is kind of the start of it. Like, what's the big dream then?
Well, the big dream is to be doing exactly what we're doing at Bussey's, but mobile. Like I'd like to do that all over the country. American Pickers is my favorite show.
Okay.
That's kind of what I want to be when I grow up. And I don't really want to grow up, but if I was to grow up, that's, as grown as I want to get, is to be able to, travel the country, travel the world, find cool treasures and share them with people.
And have like a central shop somewhere, or like do it all online, or
Yeah.
because there's so many options now. Like the world is different.
It is. And I'm really opposed to online, and we do some online, but I really like to look you in the eyes and shake your hand. That's huge to me. I think brick and mortar is starting to disappear, which kind of breaks my heart. Last year, one of my jobs was in retail, and I saw the least amount of people doing in-store Christmas shopping I'd ever seen in my entire life. Especially since COVID, people that didn't shop online before COVID, during COVID learned how to shop online. And that's, become the majority of what we do nowadays as a society, at least in America. And, if it continues in that direction, it's going to kill brick and mortar, little shops, little stores, places like Bussey's Flea Market have already felt it. People that have been doing it 25, 30, 40 years are like, wow, I'm not sure if this is sustainable anymore.
Yeah.
One of the things I hope to do out there with like the marketing and the social media side that I'm doing, like for our shop at Bussey's Flea Market, is to help grow a new generation of junkers and pickers and treasure hunters to be able to, come out there. And, some of the people that have been out there 40 years are getting ready to retire.
Yeah.
It's time for them to move on. And, if we don't get a new generation of people that are interested in doing stuff like that, then it's just going to go, the way of the dinosaur.
But it's also now it's time for the next generation maybe to come in with, because you have new ideas of what to collect also. Because
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of Antiques Roadshow and things like that. And every time they do like a one from the past and then what's today's price, and they show a big bulky piece of furniture, that's down in value.
Yeah.
And it's like it's so easy to tell like things that are not of interest, especially if it's bulky and big and things like that.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing from the people that have been doing this for a long time, it's the antique furniture and the antique dressers and the big, antique bed sets and things like that. The new generation just are not into that stuff,
Yeah.
and it's becoming, harder to move, and, the value is dropping,
And it's, at the same time, did you watch the King of Collectibles on Netflix?
Yeah.
Have you seen?
I did a little bit. Yeah. I didn't like the,
They feature two prominent Spurs in that thing. Wemby, they have a Wemby card they find, and Tim Dirk, the Coyote forever was on there with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But like watching that and seeing what like the Paul brothers or whatever, and like their Pokemon cards. I don't know which one has it or anything, but there is a huge interest in collecting.
there is.
There's a lot of interest and like a lot of cool stuff that some of these old timers are like, these are these kids' toys. Yeah, these are our toys. These are things that we like.
Yeah, it's getting lost between the generations. It's
Yeah.
like they can't move their stuff, and they're not catching on to the new generation and what they actually want to do. And that's one of the biggest things that I'm learning in this, being a treasure hunter / picker or junker, is that you got to be adaptable and adjustable. You got to be flexible. It's like
Yeah.
I had in my mind what I wanted to have in our shops and stores when we started doing this, and that's not how it worked.
Yeah.
And that's the way the universe works, in my opinion. You make a plan and it laughs, and you can be adaptable and adjustable and learn from it, or you can just get, be rigid and stiff and, probably fail.
Yeah. And especially when your market is the consumer, because if you're not fitting the consumer's demands, like, and you see this in restaurants all the time, you get a prideful chef that's like, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And like, nobody wants to eat that though. It's like, it doesn't matter if that's how it's supposed to be. If nobody wants to eat that, then it's a failed product.
Yeah. And some people, it affects their pride and ego, because they're like, this is the way it's supposed to be. That's the way the dish was meant to be. Well, if your consumer, your customer, your guest is telling you something different, maybe it's time to listen to them.
Yeah. You gotta meet the demand.
Yep.
Well, you've got an eclectic collection, as you say. We're both.
Yeah, I'm excited. I want to know. So you're a collector, first of all.
Yes.
Just like any business person, like usually their business stems from what they enjoy.
Yep.
What is your prized possession? Your go-to collectible?
So my go-to collectible is an antique book. So I don't know why, but I've always loved like the smell of like old libraries and really old bookstores. And, I'm an avid reader. I read daily, and so my go-to piece that I own is from 1718. It was written by Louis XIV's personal surgeon. And it's a book on childbirth, but believe it or not, like the illustrations in the book, they look like torture devices. Like I can't even believe what they're doing. But
Which is the weirdest part
yeah,
that comes into it.
and I don't speak French, even though I'm French, you know, but just the book itself, like when I found it, it was like majestic, and the research that I did on it was just like there's not one in the entire world for sale. Like people probably have them in their collection still, but like not one in the entire world is for sale. Like some of this author's other books are for sale. They're going for $4,500 a piece if they're in good condition. But you know, my book has a little bit of it has some, you know, lived in look to it, but it's still in really good condition, bound in calf's leather. You know, it has 8 illustrations in it that were hand drawn, and yeah, it's pretty special.
How did you stumble upon that?
So I was in Oregon at one of the best bookstores on the planet, in my opinion, Powell's Books in downtown Portland.
That's a famous place, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very famous.
Yeah.
It's a city block warehouse, 5 stories bookstore.
Wow.
Yeah, you can get lost in it. So we were in there adventuring and finding treasures, and my wife said to me, "Do you want to check out the rare book section?" And my heart started beating, and I was like, yeah, I do. And I went up there, and you know, there's books, you know, that are $50,000 and you know, a couple $100, and that one was just speaking to me. When I'm looking for treasures or looking for collectibles, you know, like things catch your eye and they speak to you, you know, and that book did, and you know, I took it home.
Did you get a good deal on it?
Absolutely not.
That's how you know it's a passion project.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like I did get a good deal on it. You know, I got it for several $100s. You know, and then after months of research and finding out about the author and the book and the time period, it's worth several thousand. So yeah, I did get a good deal on it.
Nice.
That's always nice when like you are attracted to something, and then you see the value, but the value wasn't necessarily monetary to start with. It was purely the aesthetic and the feel that it gave you.
Exactly, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's the majority of our stuff. So our shop at Bussey's Flea Market is called E&D's Weird and Wonderful Things. That's Erica and David's Weird and Wonderful Things, and the majority of the stuff at our shop started off in our collections, right? So it's like it was like, you know, displayed on one of our shelves, or you know, in our bedroom, or you know, up on one of our walls, or you know, in part of our collections, you know, or in a trunk that we had collectibles in, you know. And then it's not because we fell out of love with it, it's because it's time to share it, right? That it's in our store now. So glad to be able to do that. And it's hard. I was talking to our producer before we got started. It's hard because like I have a huge Lemax Spooky Town collection. I'm not sure if you know what that is, but it's like miniature houses for Halloween, you know, and they're all, they light up and they have sound and stuff. And I'm madly in love with that stuff. Like I can't sell it. I can't bring myself to take it off the shelf and bring it out to the store. So I'm, you know, some of the stuff, like we fall in love with it, and that's why it's in our shop, you know. But we super fall in love with some of it, and it's just not going.
Doesn't leave the house.
Yeah.
Does Erica have anything like that?
Yeah, she does. We both, I think it's a great mix. You know, we complement each other well because we collect different things. There's things that we collect together, like the Spooky Town and stuff like that. I'm into coins and jewelry as well. You know, she's into jewelry, but a different type of jewelry. She likes sterling silver. I like gold and silver, you know. Like she's into dolls. She's got doll houses. She's got like dolls that are really nice. She's got dolls that like she bought so she could like paint and do spooky things on, you know, make them look creepy like Annabelle, you know. She's got she had antique croquet sets and stuff like that. So it's like she dishes and, you know, silverware, like true silver, you know. So yeah, she's got a very eclectic collection of her own stuff, and you know, I get into toys and, you know, stuff like that as well. So
I tend toward the toys and stuff.
Nice. That kind of takes me back because so like growing up, I grew up in the flea market.
Yeah.
So we went Saturday and Sunday. We went to the one on the south side, the Mission Open Air.
Yep.
That was our spot every week. And my dad had a big collectible of like Western type stuff, and he left me. I have a set of Elvis Presley trading cards. So yeah, it's cool. Like the collectible stuff really gets me going.
I've got a complete I dabbled in baseball stuff, and '89 was when Ken Griffey Jr. was a rookie and everything, and like Upper Deck came out and everything. So like '89 Upper Deck complete sets pretty worth a lot. I have 1990. The one after that,
Yeah.
it's not worth as quite as much.
Yeah, that got mass produced because
Yeah.
I'm so successful in '89. Yeah, but like, what's the value to you though?
Nothing.
Yeah.
It's just something that, like, in the back of my head, it was something I was doing with a girlfriend at the time, and after we broke up, I never cared about it, but I had this one complete set, so it's been in this one box that has gone from every place that I've lived,
Yeah.
and it's like I only have like a handful of things. But there's one thing that, like, my parents, I hoped when they pass away is, like, I would like to have that my dad got from my grandmother. It's a complete Encyclopedia Britannica from 1909.
Oh wow.
And so, like, I remember, like, when I was a kid, like, going through it and, like, looking up automobile with, like, the description of automobile from 1909. There's, like, all these things that, like, it was interesting at the time. And my dad was, like, who graduated in high school in '64, he goes, yeah, I used that for my term paper.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he didn't do good in school.
Yeah, so I mean that has heart and soul. It's part of your family.
Yeah,
You
that's
know, it's
what- yeah.
not just a collection of books. You know, and I mean things like that in my mind become almost priceless. Like
But those things are like, I like sort of like with the books, especially, but like with that collection, like, it's interesting because the knowledge base.
Yeah.
And, like, you can have a clear cut line of, like, this is the knowledge up to this point.
Yeah.
Anything from here now it's
It's
all
different.
new knowledge and everything. And it's like, if we think about that, if you think about 1909, which a little over 100 years ago, but when we were kids was just right behind us, and like the world, like we're on a podcast now.
Yeah.
Streaming across the interwebs.
Which when you were a little kid looking at those books was unheard of. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
You can take days to write the term paper, and now you can just ask ChatGPT to write you one and
Yeah.
have it within a couple minutes.
We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into some weird and wild things and everything. So you brought some cool things that we're going to show everybody. Take us down a tour. Give us a tour.
Okay, so like I said, we at our shop we have a pretty eclectic stuff, collection of stuff out there. You know, antiques, collectibles, toys. One of the first things I brought was I love spooky stuff. So does my wife. So one of the first things I brought was Michael Myers collectible NECA toy. You know, so he is one of my favorite spooky people, and you know, this is huge to collectors that love spooky stuff. You know, the box opens up, you can take it out and display them. You can display them in different ways, and or you can just leave it in the box, which is a lot of collectors do.
Like, he's a Mount Rushmore of, like, horror guys. It's
Yes.
like Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Jason, and then Pinhead. In my opinion, those or you could, the fourth could be a lot of people. It could be
Chucky or
what's his guy's
Pennywise.
Pennywise.
Yeah.
So, but like those three right there,
They're
Michael, Jason, and Freddy are like the three.
Yeah, I used to have a recurring nightmare as a kid about Michael Myers, and I don't know why I love him. Like most people would be like, I'm terrified of that, but I absolutely love him. Yeah, so I collect Michael Myers stuff.
This is your own daddy issue.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I used to have it on VHS.
Yeah, but we had it on VHS too. I watched it a million times, especially the first few. Yeah, so I have lots of spooky collectible toys like that out at the shop. And some of the other toys I brought.
Are these stuff that are for sale?
Yeah, this is all stuff
shit,
that's
that's
for
like-
sale. So we have this is also from NECA. So everybody's used to bobbleheads, but these are bobble bodies, so they kind of dance a little bit. They're solar powered. You know, I usually keep, you know, superheroes and spooky characters and stuff like that. You know, these are also collectible, but a lot of people like will just buy them and open them and, you know, display them in their car or on their shelf at home.
What a perfect two.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I can't, have you seen it?
I haven't. We're gonna see it next week. I can't wait.
I love Deadpool.
So what are some of these? So the things you've showed us. What are the price tags on some of these things?
So with the like Michael Myers collectible, these are retailing around $45 or $50. I have it at $35.
Okay.
You know, this was in my own collection. Yes, I paid more than $35 for it, but that's one of our goals at EMD's Weird and Wonderful Things. We're not trying to be anywhere close to retail. I would like to even be under wholesale. So a lot of the buying we do, we keep in mind that like we want to sell fair. Like we don't want to. We're not trying to get high retail for the things that we buy. You know, so I want like I truly, yes, it's a business, but I truly care about people helping grow their collections, or if they walk past our shop and something catches their eye and that's their treasure for the day, I want to make sure they get it at an affordable, reasonable price.
And that's how you get people to come back and buy more collectibles from you too.
Exactly. And we've only been out there 4 months, and we're getting regulars, and people that come out every weekend know our names and we know theirs. And, that's really important to me, not only to grow the business, but I don't just go out there for the business. I go out there because I love to interact with people, and, I love finding treasure myself.
We talked about my brother earlier. I know that he's gone out there and bought something.
Yeah. And you want to know what he bought? The next thing that I'm getting ready to show. So I have a huge collection of what they call tobacciano, which is tobacco boxes, tobacco tins.
Do you have Prince Albert in the can?
Yeah,
you better let him out. Do you remember that joke?
Nah.
That was the old phone. Like you call somebody to the house and you go, "Do you have Prince Albert in a can?" And they go, "Yes," because they have this. And you go, "Well, you better let him out." And you hang up.
And the other one was, "Is your refrigerator running?"
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So these are old tobacco cans. This one's from the 60s and in pretty good condition. Prince Albert. And then, I have some other brands. This is from the late 40s. And I have tobacco boxes and cigar boxes and just, tins. When I was a little guy, these were important to me. Not only did like all the, like grandfathers and stuff like that, they still had this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that long ago that it was in, mass production, but that's what I put my pennies and my rocks and my marbles and all that stuff. You could hear me jingling from a block away.
Everybody had the cigar box, everything with the little junk drawers.
I still do.
Yeah.
I still do. Walk into my office and there's 3 cigar boxes sitting around with treasure in them.
I love, and the pipes. There's something about the smell of a pipe of any tobacco product. Even like hookah smell great and everything, but like a pipe tobacco.
Oh, yeah, it's just it's a great smell, and it brings back a ton of memories. So when people are walking by our shop and they see like all the tobacco tins and boxes sitting out, like the stories that I get from people, they're like, "Oh, my grandfather used to smoke Prince Albert," or, he used to smoke Velvet, and, I have one still and my marbles are in it and it's at home and I haven't opened it up in 40 years, and just I love hearing that stuff, like the history and the stories behind it, and watching people actually have like positive flashbacks and memories about, something they hadn't thought about in 40 years, as they're walking by and looking at this stuff. So
it's like going through like a museum, like that virtual memory lane and everything.
Exactly.
We need those triggers. So what about is Prince Albert in general going to be more valuable than like a velvet can? Or
well, this velvet can from the late 40s is probably a little bit more valuable, even though it's in rough condition. So
really?
Like a lot of these were like found in the ground outside in the woods someplace, so it's not in great condition, but it's an older, more unique design. My Prince Alberts in condition like this from like the 60s, and even from the late 50s are only $5. Like they're not expensive. I have a couple of tins that are getting up into the hundreds. They're super rare and really, really good condition. I got in auction battles for them. One tin, I dead serious about this. I was in an auction battle and leaving my house for work. And I got a notification that the auction was almost ending, and I didn't know exactly what time it was. I pulled over on the side of 1604 to win the auction. Yeah.
Do what you got to do to win.
Yeah. In the middle of rush hour traffic.
Stalled vehicle.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm battling on eBay in an auction.
Yep. And this is why we need full self-driving cars.
Exactly.
So that we can make auction items and bid for them while we're getting to work.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. This is a huge love of mine, and
that's cool.
Part of my collection that I'd love to share.
I think we have a book.
We have a book. This is one of my babies. This is also bound in calves leather. This is from 1806, and it is the British interpretation of Isaac Newton's Principia. Bound in calves leather. So with all my rare books, like I don't bring this out to the flea market.
Yeah.
If you're looking for rare books and we strike up a conversation, I'll tell you and show you pictures of what I have, but I want to keep this out of humidity. Like I have to actually open them up and dust them and let the pages breathe. And, this is not mint condition. As you can see, there's some writing up here, but mostly the books that I have from the 17 and 1800s are going to have some writing or some highlighting in them. They're it's hard to have been on a bookshelf for that long and still be in mint condition. You know?
Yeah.
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 I think it's interesting how forever everybody wore the white cotton gloves whenever and then they found that was more detrimental to the books than like just your skin.
Yeah, they're meant to be touched. You know, that's not going to last a million years, but they are meant to be taken care of as well. Like they need to be dusted, and you know, you gotta like. It's okay to spin through the pages, and I mean, it sounds weird to say, but smell that. You know, it smells like an old library.
Oh yeah,
and that's real paper and real calves leather, and you know, it's.
We say that in real estate all the time.
Yeah,
we want to come out and smell your house and everything.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
little different, but I love sharing stuff like this. But like I said, even though some of my rare books are for sale because of the humidity and the weather, even in cooler weather, there's 40% humidity here, so they don't go out with me. But I do have some for sale, and I'm always willing to show them.
What year was that book from?
1808.
Nice.
1809, excuse me.
Is that that's one for sale?
Yes.
And what would that go for?
That would go for around $500.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, and then I have a background in jewelry as well, so I always have a little bit of jewelry, gold, silver, coins. We're focusing on mostly what people would call low-end jewelry right now. You know, sterling silver, stainless steel. We sell a lot of skull rings and skull stuff because people recognize us. We always have a lot of spooky stuff. Those are 1 ounce silver coins, pure silver, $9.99.
What's the ounce go for these days? But
right now, the last I checked, spot was at about $29 an ounce. And so those are the Mexican pesos. That is 2023 commemorative. So they have on there the little eagles all the way around, which is a representation of all the different eagles that have been on the Mexican peso coin throughout the years. That is an elemental plate. So on that, I have 2 1-gram gold bars, 2 1-gram palladium bars, and 8 1-gram silver bars.
So how much is a gram going for it?
Gram of gold is at $78, $79 right now. And I don't have I buy over spot, so I sell over spot as well, but I try to not that much over spot. So that is commemorative state quarters that are gold plated. The Denver Mint came out with those and ran them from like 2002 to like 2014.
I remember when these came out. Yeah, I had the little book to where you would collect them and put them in there.
Yep.
It's funny how people are fascinated with
I tried to get all 50 states. And
Yep. I think we all did.
I think I lost track.
My grandmother, she would love to give me those.
Yep, and,
everybody has a fascination with like skulls.
So are these quarters solid gold?
No, those are plated. So they're when the Denver Mint came out with the plated collection, they came out with gold, platinum, silver, and nickel plated state quarters. And they sold them in 4-packs, so you'd get a pack of each.
I was watching a TikTok video, and they were somewhere. I think they were in Japan, but they had like these certain brand skull like jewelry and stuff like that that are like for sterling silver. They're still selling for like $5,000-$6,000.
Yeah, depending upon the designer and
for like just for $20 worth of silver.
yeah, exactly. Because of the designer. Yeah, and thank God, E&D's Weird and Wonderful Things, they're not that expensive. Like our skull rings are $5 a piece. Our bracelets range from $5 to $10, depending upon what they're made from, whether it's steel or silver, or depending. But we have costume jewelry, mostly, spooky and Halloween stuff, but, a little bit of everything.
Nice. So you got the price on the ring and the bracelet. What about the other things? What would those go for?
Right now I have the Mexican pesos at $36 each, a little bit over spot. This elemental bar that I put together with the gold, the palladium, and the silver, I have that at $250. So you basically get the silver for free on that. And then these are $20 a piece, and they're retailing around $45 a piece. So
nice.
Affordable, where I can still make a couple of bucks. I mean, the majority of the stuff that we're selling, we're making $1 or $2 off, and it's like an accumulative a cumulative, profit.
Yeah.
We're not trying to get rich off an individual sale. We're trying to make people happy. We're trying to grow people's collections. We're trying to help you find treasure or something for the grandkids, that you can buy and not feel guilty about afterwards. I felt guilty when I bought it. I don't want you to.
And that's like that's most places, people down there that are selling at the flea market and everything. It's a lot of time. Most of the time, that's their little family businesses, and the most of the people I think are like that. They're fair and honest people that are just that trying to make a living.
Exactly. And that's very fair and honest prices on everything down there, and lots of great vendors, people that have been there for generations, and they exactly most everything is under retail. So we also have a lot of gemstones and rocks. Me and my wife collect rocks everywhere we go. We'll go hiking and find special rocks everywhere. That is real ruby in quartz. So I wish I'd have brought my
I was guessing amethyst.
Yeah. I wish I would have brought my little UV flashlight. I didn't think about it. Oh, actually I did, but I forgot. So when you hit that ruby with a UV light,
Yeah.
it fluoresces bright pink purple.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's from South America. I want to say probably around Brazil. That's ranging about $180. Yep. And we have lots of stuff like this. Like I have some peridot, I have some opal. I love opal.
Yeah.
And some other, precious stones and non-precious stones that are just really cool. My wife collects not only in stones, but anything that's any kind of rock that looks like a heart. She has thousands of them, and we just find them while we're traveling or buy them at people's, rock and gem stores and stuff like that. So this is close to my heart. I love Lemax Spooky Town. So I just brought one piece. I have a huge collection. I was showing Brad and before we got started. So this is just like a cemetery gate. So what people do, I'm sure most people are acquainted with the Lemax Christmas villages. You can get them at places like Michael's and stuff like that. So they also have a Spooky Town village, which is all like Halloween stuff. It's like, skeleton pirates and witches and, haunted, amusement park stuff and, cemetery stuff. And people build out little villages in their house, sometimes only seasonally, and then they pack them up and put them away. Ours is like permanently displayed in our office. So we have like a witches area, a pirate area, an amusement park area, a huge cemetery. And we sell this stuff at E&D's Weird and Wonderful Things as well. So if you're interested in building model villages and you know about Lemax and the other model villages, we always have that stuff available for sale out there. And it's really close to my own heart because I have a huge collection of these myself. I actually try to, and I tell people this too, it's like I don't mind sharing my secrets, is that I buy this stuff on eBay broken, and then I fix it up. And especially like most of the stuff that has motors, it's like a simple solder and reconnecting a wire and, fixing an extension cord or something. And then you can, buy a piece for $45 plus shipping, and it ends up being $100 piece afterwards,
Nice.
because they have really good resale value to them. So the older ones like this one are made out of porcelain and are very fragile. Some of the newer ones are like a resin plastic and not quite as fragile. But yeah.
Isn't that the way it always goes? It start off with a real high quality of something, and then they get to the masses.
What did you say, MVP?
Yeah, that's kind of minimum viable product.
Yeah,
but they do the best viable product.
Yeah,
the BVP.
Yeah, and it's sad in ways, but also like some of that stuff is more durable and lasts a little bit longer. Not always, but
What would something like that sell for?
So this I have at $20.
Okay.
It is porcelain. It is in really good condition. The only thing I had to do a little glue in right there on that, but like I said, the Lemax Spooky Town has a big resale value to it, and I try to keep the prices affordable, but they can get pretty expensive. They can be $200 to $500 for a mint piece with a box. That's in working condition. But we have quite a collection, and we always have some out at Bussey's Flea Market. And then so that's the last piece that I brought with me that I'm going to show is this little troll right here. We have a huge collection of trolls and dolls, like I was saying, and toys. And these are the old vintage trolls. They've come out with newer ones. I'm not a big fan of them, but my mom had a huge collection of these when I was a little guy, and my wife collects them, and she's got a huge collection in our living room and in our front room where the library is. And we always have trolls and dolls out there as well. We really have a huge collection of antiques, collectibles, furniture, art. We do a little bit of everything out there.
Fun. That's awesome.
Where do you guys get majority of your stock from? Just kind of here, there, and everywhere?
Well, the majority of our stock, like I said, when we very first started our shop, was our own collections, right? And then we kind of grew into, like, as our stuff was starting to thin out, or we were getting down to the stuff we weren't really ready to sell yet because we were in love with it. We started doing estate sales, garage sales, and like I said, we're trying to buy under wholesale because I want to sell to you under wholesale as well. I did get some. I have an EIN. I have my own, business license, my tax license, and I have a precious metals license to be able to buy, sell, and trade precious metals. And I did get with some wholesalers right away, like NECA and Lemax and some wholesalers. But even if I buy at those prices, I have to sell at retail.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to do. It's just, it takes the love out of it for me. I really want to, keep those prices as low as I possibly can. So, a lot of it's going to be from picking and, hunting for treasure.
How do y'all balance the time on that? I know, like, on the flea market, it's usually on the weekends and things like that. But to go restock and do things like that, how do you find time to squeeze that in?
We just don't sleep. It's very common to see my wife treasure hunting on her phone. Looking at estate sales, looking at garage sales that are coming up. One of my favorite things to do is on Sunday, and this is a great tip for everybody that loves to treasure hunt, is on both Saturday and Sunday, come out as early as you possibly can, and then also come back as late as you possibly can, because people come out just for the weekend sometimes. I'm just going to get rid of some stuff this weekend, and on Sunday at 4:00, right before the flea market closes, they don't want to bring that stuff back home with them. So you're going to get the lowest possible prices. You can buy a whole inventory from somebody for a couple $100, with thousands of pieces of, whatever in it. So a lot of, we do a lot of buying at the flea market. We take turns walking around, in slower times, and we specifically look for the people that are only going to be there that weekend.
Yeah.
Because they're going to want their stuff to go.
That's our trick with baby clothes. We try to go, and so we were having the baby. We were going to the yard sales towards the end of the day. Hey, I'll give you $20 for the whole box.
Yep.
I know you don't want to put it back in the house.
Baby clothes are the worst because they're not. They last for such a short window of time.
That's why we buy. We don't ever. We hardly ever buy new baby clothes.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So where is there a specific spot that they can find you at the flea market then? Or
yeah, we're at 222 and 220. So we have two right next to each other. So like when you come in from the parking lot, you take a left, you go up to the top of the hill, you take a right, and we're down that aisle right there. It's a big flea market. You can get lost out there.
What's your Instagram and your those kind of your social media? So where can they follow you at?
David Cordrey on Facebook. And there's several, but there's a picture of me and my wife in front of our E&D's Weird and Wonderful Things sign. And that's my main Facebook page. The majority of our stuff is going to get posted on there first. The Instagram I built for poker originally, and it's Tool Shirt Poker, David Tool Shirt Poker. Yeah, because I always wear Tool shirts. That's my favorite band, and I dressed up today. Ty from Penners downtown.
Hey,
Fancy.
Yeah, you guys.
Matthew Penner, he's a good friend. We know him from the.
He's a great guy. He owns a 106-year-old men's clothing store
Penners downtown
San Antonio. Yeah, they're
Matthew's, he's a really nice
staple. Yeah. Yep. So. Yeah. So those are my, and then during football season, I have a YouTube page, and it's David Cordrey, and I do a little bit of Bills vlogging and stuff like that. But the majority of it's going to
go Bills.
Yeah, David Cordrey on Facebook.
Yeah. I'm happy to be a Bills fan for the day.
There's not very many of us in Texas.
There's a few though. I've ran into a few.
Yeah. So we have the Anchor Bar in Buffalo, New York is where the chicken wing was invented. People are sitting around drunk and bored and hungry and, threw that part of the chicken in the fryer, right? And in the 70s. And so Anchor Bar has become a chain nationally. So wherever you go in any major city in the country, if there's an Anchor Bar, that's the Bills Bar on Sunday. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, here in San Antonio, there's one in San Antonio off 1604, but there's several in the surrounding areas of San Antonio, and all the Bills fans get together. And there's a good.
I didn't realize that's what those.
Me either.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the original. The home of the chicken wing was the Anchor Bar,
and they perfected it somewhere in Texas. I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm. That's usually what happens.
Yep.
Turned it into a taco.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, I tell you, take a trip out to Bussey's Flea Market. It's a good time. There's a lot of cool stuff. If you got a free weekend and not knowing what to do, it's a great experience. go check out David and Erica's place. You'll find some weird, wild things. I love the Halloween things. My favorite.
Yeah. Yeah. Michael Myers kick.
And I'm sure if you have stuff you want to get rid of similar to this, reach out to David. I'm sure he's always buying.
Yeah, we are always interested in buying. We're always looking for spooky stuff, Halloween decorations, gold and silver, coins, and yeah, we're always buying
A little precious.
precious. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see y'all next time.
See you next week.
Thank you, everybody.